Hi there everyone, Lars here from Camille's Harem. Not just a podcast for novice writers by novice writers, but also a YouTube channel by novice writers for novice writers. Because writing is an adventure, it's more fun with friends. And today we are making good on a request from our viewers to look into the magic system of the Owl House. And since the second half of Season 2 is premiering very soon, it is an excellent opportunity to do so. In this video, I will break down the magic from the Owl House series, quantify it on the spectrum of magic systems, where it falls from soft to hard magic, and what we novice writers can gain from watching this incredible story's magic at work. So, real quick, if you for whatever reason have not yet seen this series, take a well-deserved break and watch this phenomenal show. You will not be disappointed. The Owl House follows the many adventures and misadventures of Earth's lovable dork, Luz, who finds herself running through a magical portal and getting marooned on the Boiling Isles, where she should instead be at summer camp. During this crazy summer, she helps Ida, the Owl Lady, dodge all kinds of authorities, bad suitors, and her family. Luz also befriends King, the potential big bad or big cute aggression of the entire series, while also learning magic despite being a human who supposedly is incapable of accessing the Boiling Isles' powers. And it's these powers and the story surrounding them that forms a backbone to the entire story. Luz wants so badly to become a witch, just like her personal fictional hero, Azura the Good Witch. However, as Ida explains to Luz, without a bile sac, she cannot use magic like all the other witches on the Boiling Isle. And because she is not a demon, she does not have her own bizarre powers. And while she can use Ida's staff to fly without accessing her own magic, having a magic staff or wand does nothing for Luz in the long run. However, this obstacle comes tumbling down when Luz learns that the magic circles Ida and the other witches use are made of flashing symbols. Luz copies down the first symbol, which is for light. From there, Luz begins searching for more and more of these. These symbols, or more appropriately called glyphs, are essential to harnessing and funneling magic towards the witch's intent. As where we are currently in the series, Luz has learned 4 major glyphs: ice, fire, light, and plant. However, these glyphs can be manipulated in nearly endless ways and in almost infinite combinations with each other to enact complex and complicated spells. Luz, however, has to rely on these glyphs to use her magic. She must either tap them or use a staff to activate them from afar. Luz's inherent ingenuity and creativity has led her to explore this side of the Boiling Isles magic further than really anyone outside of Hunter and possibly even Emperor Belos. It should be noted that Belos and Hunter also use artificial magic, which is something that we have very little knowledge about. My personal theory is that artificial magic is stolen magic taken from all the witches and demons Belos has petrified since taking over the Isles. And there is also his connection to the Titan, which gives him an even greater boost of power. Seriously, Belos is no laughing matter. Ida liked to say that she was the most powerful witch upon the Boiling Isles. However, from what we can see when Belos is teasing Luz, that if this guy gets into an actual fight, he is nearly impossible to defeat. Alright, so let's break this magic down a little bit here. On the Boiling Isles, we have a wide variety of denizens. They can be all forms, shapes, demons, and witches. And some of them are even both demon and witch. Demons have an innate power within them that is unique to who they are. They do not require bile sacs to access this kind of power, nor do they need staffs or magic circles or anything like that. However, their powers are strictly limited to whatever select ability they've been born with. Witches, on the other hand, are born with a bile sac near their heart, very similar to the beating, disgusting heart that we see over Belos within the Titan's chest. This fluid allows them to tap into the world's magic without the assistance of technology or glyphs. These bile sacs are likely an evolution on the Boiling Isles and contain magic from the Titan itself. As we see, Ida and Lilith can use magic on Earth while Luz cannot. Their magic is tied directly to the Isles, and they literally have part of the Isles in themselves, which Luz does not have, hence why Luz cannot use magic on Earth. This means that the Isles are the source of the magic. What Belos refers to as wild magic is the natural magic of the world, and especially the magic of the Titan. And since Belos is seeking to restore the Titan, there is a very real possibility that his attempts to rein in wild magic is all part of the Day of Unity and the Titan's restoration process. Some fun stuff to look forward to in the rest of Season 2. Now, when witches draw their circles to enact magic, they unwittingly create the glyphs. This is an important note to make here. Glyphs are the physical manifestation of a witch's intent. Magic is wielded not just through the access to the power, but by the wielder's intent. We don't fully understand how this part of the magic works, but it becomes clear that this is the why for why there are magical schools on the Boiling Isles for anyone who can just access this. We need to train, hone this skill to help young witches learn how to properly harness their intent and use the resources around them to enact good, successful magic. Since she doesn't have a bile sac of her own, Luz must manipulate these natural glyphs and create sequences to spell out her intent. This is an awesome concept that matches her artistic skills. It is also something noted by Hunter, who recognizes the awesome potential contained in spelling out one's designs. With the right knowledge, effectively anything is possible within this magic system. And this is super cool because the more glyphs you know, and by creating the right sequences, you can basically do anything. All of the power dynamics that you think exist in terms of magic really suddenly go out the window because it now all comes down to creativity and knowledge. And that is a great equalizer in a magic system where almost anything can become possible. And that is the one thing that could give Luz an upper hand against Belos in their upcoming fights. Next comes the matter of the palisman and staffs. Magical staffs are nothing without the palisman atop them, carved from palistrum wood. This rare magical wood is another way to directly access the Isle's magic, by embodying a living being carved directly out of the Titan itself. Witches and palisman form a kind of symbiotic relationship, taking care of each other and allowing the other to reach their fullest potential. When combined together, bile sacs, glyphs, and staffs, you then create a complete Boiling Isles witch. However, there's obviously more to it. Forget the fact that the education system on the Boiling Isles is ultimately a scheme to segregate magic users and control them. The schools are inherently there to help witches learn the intricacies and rules of magic in general. Magic is separated into 9 separate tracks: abomination, construction, healing, potions, illusions, oracle, bard, and beastkeeping, and plant. There is, however, a lot of wiggle room within these 9 different tracks, and you can have all different kinds of combinations and offshoots from within. And this ultimately allows for the personal tastes of various witches to be met. And that's kind of neat because within this wide magic system, even though there's a series of covens, really, in theory, there should be a coven for just about anything that you want to do. Now, there's still a lot more to learn about how magic works within the story and what exactly Belos intends to do with it all, but this breakdown already helps us to better understand what kind of magic system we're dealing with here. Dana Terrace is obviously borrowing a lot from Harry Potter. Hexside School is literally a brilliant parody of the Harry Potter books and Hogwarts, and I love it. But that does not mean that her magic system is a beat-for-beat replica or even a parody of what we see in Harry Potter. On the spectrum of magics, there is a line from soft to hard. Soft magic implies that there are very few rules on how magic works. It just does, with little description, if any, on how it's supposed to work. It can be powerful, it can be scary, or it can be weak and almost inconsequential. Soft magic can really be just about anything you want it to be. Hard magic is set in firm, unyielding rules. We understand within hard magic how and why all of this awesome power operates, and we can even plot science according to these rules, fully understanding the grandiose and minutia of how this fantasy world works. Examples of soft magic easily include everything that we see in The Lord of the Rings, A Song of Ice and Fire, and The Chronicles of Narnia. Examples of hard magic systems are basically everything that Brandon Sanderson has ever written, from the Cosmere to Rhythmatist. And in between, you have a lot of stuff like the magics of The Witcher, where magic is still strange and ethereal, but if you know your stuff, you can bend magic to your will. There are also the candies and the Candy Shop Wars from Brandon Mull. We don't know where magic comes from, but we do know that by making certain delicious sweets, you can bend magic to a certain intent. And of course, there is Harry Potter, where we don't understand how magic exists or why certain muggles can get it and others can't, but we understand the importance of wands, their cores, the use of spells, intent, and potion ingredients. The Owl House's magic system is far more complex than what we see in Harry Potter. We have a good understanding of where magic comes from, why people are able to use magic on the Boiling Isles, and how. We also understand the importance of glyphs, how they operate, why intent is necessary, and the relationship witches have with their staffs and talisman. What we do lack is an understanding of why there are only 4 dominant glyphs, such as light, plant, ice, and fire. This could be harkening back to the idea of the 4 foundational elements, air, water, earth, and fire. However, how do these glyphs account for peculiar tracks like abominations, beastkeeping, or even potions? And what is palistrum wood exactly? Why is there so little of it when seemingly it comes right out of the Titan? Why are there some people born as witches and others as demons? Why aren't all denizens of the Boiling Isles both witch and demon, like what we see Kikimora ultimately be? The Owl House is definitely no soft magic system based series, but there are plenty of questions that we still have, and plenty of weird, wobbly whatnot that we just don't understand about how magic works, and that we likely never will actually discover how it works. So on the spectrum, I'd say that the Owl House is about 3/5 of the way towards becoming a truly hard magic system, and that's just kind of my personal taste on it. Others might slide it a little bit more towards soft magic, but I feel like there's enough concrete evidence there for us to already begin to understand, yeah, this is actually a pretty good hard magic system. There's just still so much wrapped up in mystery that we don't fully know and that we likely never will. Now, lastly, let me address what we as novice writers can take away from how the Owl House does magic. If you're going to write your own magic system, it's important to know what you want to do with it. Is it an integral part of the world's operation, the same as the laws of physics? Or is it something cool that people can do at random and just helps the plot along? Soft magic is a ton of fun to write, but it is very easy to slide into Deus Ex Machina territories, where it becomes weird if it doesn't solve everyone's problems, and it becomes annoying if it is. Hard magic systems are super cool to write, but they require so much attention and refining that most authors can't keep up with it. I personally feel that a combination of the two is important. People want to know how and why magic functions, but you don't have to get super detailed and answer every single question. You create your own limitations, but you also still give yourself enough wiggle room by not fully elaborating on everything that magic can do or what it can't do. For example, in my book, Knights of Halicruz, the magic that people have is their own imagination, and imagination is boundless. However, without understanding how to use that power properly, you can really mess yourself up. One of my characters, for instance, tries to do something really cool and nearly goes splut across the ground because he doesn't understand the physics that he is suddenly enacting by using his imagination. He's like, oh cool, I'm just going to combine these two kinds of crazy spells I once saw on a show and hope for the best, and he nearly breaks his neck. So what I do is I lay out some of the basic rules that govern how imagination is used as a magic system, but otherwise I leave it open. It slides way more towards soft magic, but with some basic rules in place. And that way the story doesn't come off the rails, and I can do a whole lot more than what even Sanderson Senpai can do with his highly intricate rules on stuff such as allomancy, feruchemy, and hemorrhagy. However, this is where each author must decide for themselves what they want to create. And if you feel worried about a magic system of yours being, well, broken, share it with others and get their feedback. Refine it from there. Crafting a good magic system is all about asking and answering questions. And to that final point, if you are writing a fantasy story and have questions about your magic system, please reach out to us. We love talking magic and we'll help you refine what you've got. So, in closing, the Owl House has a well-built magic system full of great details and elements, but it's not as regimented as stuff from Sanderson Senpai's books, and they are far more elaborate than what you get from J.K. Rowling. My personal opinion is that this is the sweet spot that most fantasy authors should aim for. If you're looking for more writing advice, please check out our other videos and our podcast episodes found on Podbean, iTunes, Spotify, the works. We have writing exercises over at our Pinterest page, and we would love for you to join our growing community of novice writers. Links for all of those sites and more are down in the description. And until our next misadventures on the Boiling Isles, y'all, tschüss.